Sit back and enjoy an hour of fascinating facts you didn't know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. In Indonesia, some people practice so-called train therapy, lying on railway tracks with the belief that the electrical current relieves ailments. This practice has been observed at stations like Cengkareng in Jakarta. Although it is popularly associated with the relief of rheumatism or migraines, there is no scientific evidence to support it. Authorities have warned about its risks, including electric shocks and accidents. This is not a dimensional portal, but an optical phenomenon called a light pillar. It occurs on very cold days when ice crystals are suspended in the air. These crystals reflect light from intense sources such as the sun, the moon, or streetlights. By aligning horizontally, they create a vertical luminous column. The effect may seem strange or supernatural, but it is well documented. It is a natural manifestation of the interaction between light and ice. This is the happiest animal in the world. It has earned the title because it always looks like it is smiling. This is due to the shape of its mouth, which looks like a very nice smile. At 99 years old, Betty Brussel has broken 3 world swimming records in the categories corresponding to 100 to 104 years. Brussel broke her record in the 400-meter freestyle, beating the previous world record by almost 4 minutes. This success was repeated in the 50-meter backstroke and 50-meter breaststroke that same day. Her interest in swimming began at 60 years old, and since then she visits her local pool twice a week to stay in shape. Have you ever seen a bear scratching against a tree? Believe it or not, this is a communication system. Bears do this to get to know other bears in the area and avoid misunderstandings and fights. Most of them visit the same trees for several generations. In Indonesia, Haris Dayang Ngale has gained popularity on the internet due to his daily habit of drinking cement for 3 years. Despite the unusual nature of his actions, he claims that it causes him no pain or discomfort. In fact, he maintains that for him it is as common as drinking coffee, tea, or mineral water and is part of his daily routine. This is the most difficult Rubik's Cube in the world. It is known as the impossible cube, and although it looks like a normal and ordinary cube, its faces change color depending on the angle at which you look at it. It is so difficult to solve that people who solve a normal cube in 1 minute can take more than 3 hours to solve this one. These are glacier mice, small balls of moss that move on their own. It is a very curious phenomenon that still has no explanation and that happens in glaciers around the world. Its consistency is moist and spongy, and they move about 2 centimeters daily. Each of these balls is the habitat of a plant colony. Scientists believe that they move so that the moss that remains underneath does not die from lack of light. But it is not yet known why they all move at the same speed and in the same direction. In Australia, it is common to find spiders taking refuge in small dark spaces, such as underhandles or furniture. This behavior is a response to their need to avoid extreme heat and direct sun exposure. Although there are no specific studies to confirm that they hide for that exact reason, it is consistent with their biology. Spiders seek cool, protected environments to regulate their temperature. In Kachin, Burma, thousands of people descend slopes in search of jade, often illegally. The region has the largest jadeite reserves in the world, highly valued in China. The jade trade moves billions of dollars a year. Working conditions are dangerous and there are frequent collapses. High-quality jade can fetch very high prices. Some bracelets have been sold for $100,000. Although this is not an average value, extraction remains a high-risk and high-demand activity. Owls have surprisingly long legs, though they're usually hidden beneath their feathers. Their legs are quite long and slender. The reason for this is that they use them to quickly swoop down on their prey from above without the prey noticing. This fact surprises many people since their legs aren't visible at first glance. In ancient times, Halloween costumes were much more terrifying. It is said that the custom of dressing up for these holidays began in the medieval era, and that criminals would take advantage of dressing in a particularly terrifying way to commit crimes and blame supernatural forces. Over time, this custom became increasingly popular. Baby elephants have a very adorable habit. These animals suck on their trunks in a similar way to how a human baby sucks on its thumb. This action not only gives them comfort, but also helps them master the use of their trunk. Their trunk will become their main survival tool, so they must learn to master it from a young age. In Amsterdam, there are more bicycles than people. In this video, you can see one of the city's rivers completely full of bicycles. People throw so many bikes into these rivers that the city has to use boats like this one to get them out. Otherwise, it would become a danger to the other boats that travel through. In Finland, there is a race in which men carry their wives. This unusual sport consists of men carrying their wives on their backs as they run through a circuit full of obstacles. The winner receives his wife's weight in beer as a prize. This sport is a mix of tradition and humor and is celebrated annually with great enthusiasm. Bananas are curved because they grow towards the sun. This phenomenon is called negative geotropism. Although bananas initially grow downwards due to gravity, they then curve upwards in the direction of the sun. This upward movement is what gives them their characteristic curved shape as they ripen. This growth towards sunlight is more pronounced. Meet Crystal, a female capuchin monkey who is possibly the highest-paid animal in the entire world. At 26 years old, she is more sought after and better paid than many Hollywood actors, earning an impressive $265,000 per production. Crystal has played very famous monkey roles and is estimated to have generated more than $5 million, since she has appeared in more than 28 television shows and movies. The Romans washed their teeth with urine. They believed that urine made their teeth whiter and prevented them from rotting, so they used it as a mouthwash, mixing it with pumice stone to make toothpaste. In fact, urine was so popular that it was used in toothpastes and mouthwashes until the 17th century. The Greta Otto, known as the glasswing butterfly, is a species with transparent wings that lives in tropical areas. It migrates from Mexico to Panama, traveling long distances in search of favorable conditions. It prefers humid environments and dense forests. Its transparency serves as camouflage against predators. A single person has more than 4,000 dreams a year. Specifically, experts say that a person has between 4 and 12 dreams each night, which means that people have between 1,400 and 4,300 dreams a year. It is estimated that humans have more than 100,000 dreams throughout their lives. The Fujian cuisine of China is characterized by its broths and liquid dishes, with mild flavors and refined techniques. On the other hand, there are food replicas made with materials such as silicone or resin, used for demonstrations and showcases. These imitations allow dishes to be displayed without deteriorating. This was the route the Titanic was to follow during its maiden voyage, and this is the point where it sank, about 740 kilometers south of the Canadian island of Newfoundland, between the night of the 14th and the morning of the 15th of April, 1912. The exact location where the shipwreck is found is in the Titanic Canyon at a depth of almost 4 kilometers. Icicles are formed by the runoff and freezing of water in conditions of intense cold. Although they are sometimes called ice stalactites, the correct term is icicle. In certain cases, they can form around thin threads where water runs. If the thread is cut in several points but remains joined, the segments of ice may appear to levitate. Meet John Evans, a man who has broken 96 world records thanks to the extraordinary strength of his head. Despite being 73 years old, his bone density is comparable to that of a 20-year-old athlete. He has lifted all kinds of things, from tires, bricks, refrigerators, cars, and even 2 girls. Evans is capable of holding more than 170 kilograms on his head. However, in the year 2020, he announced that he would no longer perform these feats. In the Flintstones, Betty Rubble, Barney Rubble's wife, cannot have children, making it the first animated series to address infertility. Therefore, Bam Bam Rubble is the adopted son of both characters, known as the strongest boy in the world. He first appears at the end of the 3rd season of the series, becoming a very beloved character for both adults and children. This is the largest onion in the world. It was grown by the English gardener Peter Glazebrook and weighs 8.15 kilograms. Just look at it compared to his head. Many people abandon supercars in Dubai. The majority of these belong to people who couldn't pay their debts and had to flee the country. This is a technique that ballerinas use to strengthen their legs and improve their balance. The first commercial mobile phone was the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, launched in 1983. It weighed almost 1 kilogram and offered a battery life of approximately 30 minutes of conversation. Japan records some of the world's heaviest snowfalls, with up to 38 meters in northern regions. In the United States, Mount Rainier in Washington accumulated more than 31 meters in one season. Mitt Baker also reached almost 29 meters in 1999. Alaska had nearly 25 meters at Thompson Pass in 1953. In California, Squaw Valley reached 18 meters in 2016. The spaceships from the video game Galaga were the inspiration for paleontologists to name this prehistoric shark, the Galagodon nordquiste. According to them, its teeth are very similar. The American Randy Gardner holds the scientifically documented record for staying awake for the longest time. At 17 years old, he remained sleepless for a period of 11 days and 25 minutes. In Australia, the red handfish lives, known scientifically as Thymicthus polytus. It is a rare species that walks on the seabed using its pectoral and ventral fins. These fins are hand-shaped and allow it to move without swimming. It lives in shallow waters near Tasmania. It is one of the most unique fish in the world for its mode of locomotion. It is currently critically endangered. This may be one of the first memes in history, published in a newspaper in 1921. It says the following: "What do you think you look like when a photograph is taken of you? What do you really look like?" The first bank in the world to implement ATMs was Barclays. It was installed in Enfield, London on June 27, 1967. The first ATM was not like the ones we know today. Instead of plastic cards, they used paper checks impregnated with chemicals that were activated when they were inserted into the machine. In addition, at first it was only used by women of ill repute and gamblers who did not want to deal face-to-face with the people who worked in the banks. It was only thanks to magnetic stripe cards in the 70s that it became widespread. Astronauts cannot burp in space. Due to microgravity, gases and liquids in the stomach do not separate as they do on Earth, which means that when astronauts try to burp, the contents of the stomach come up along with the gas, resulting in a mini vomit. This is one of the many unexpected effects of living in space. In this video, you can see what happens when you cry in space. Astronaut Chris Hadfield performs an experiment in which you can see how tears are trapped around the eyes due to the lack of gravity. Literally, it would be like what you see when you're underwater. Unlike many animals, sheep don't usually drink moving water from rivers or streams. The main reason they avoid doing so is that they don't know how to swim. Their wool quickly absorbs water, significantly increasing their weight and eventually leading to drowning. Therefore, they prefer to drink from places with stagnant water, like troughs or lakes. The Madoa, small antelopes from Africa that seem to have 4 eyes, use their tears to mark their territory. These are considered the smallest antelopes in the world, and they leave a sticky secretion that emanates from the tear holes that are under their eyes. In addition, they have a curious pointed snout. This is what an underwater volcanic eruption looks like. Curiously, the water only heats up a few centimeters from the lava. In the mid-19th century, people had to stay still for a long time to have their picture taken. This was due to light exposure, as it took an average of between 15 and 30 minutes to get an image with identifiable details. However, over the years, cameras were improved, and taking photographs could last about 7 minutes. Still, it was quite a long time. That is why people are almost never seen smiling in old photographs. Cast iron is used for grates due to its strength and ease of molding, since pure iron becomes liquid upon reaching at least 1,538 degrees Celsius. In the industry, alloys with carbon are used to lower that melting point, allowing variants like gray iron to melt from approximately 1,200 degrees. This property makes it easy to pour into detailed molds, and upon cooling, the material retains great hardness and durability, which makes it ideal for ornamental and safety structures. This is Crystal Tadlock, an American woman who had to pay a $500 fine for keeping an apple that the airline she was traveling on gave her. The reason is that the country's laws prohibit bringing in certain food products because they can contain pests and diseases from exotic animals. Crystal accidentally committed the infraction, but she still had to pay for what was probably the most expensive apple in the world. In Switzerland, there is a town where it is forbidden to take photos. Taking a selfie in that place could get you in trouble. It is called Bergun, and it has one of the most beautiful landscapes that can exist. But taking any type of photograph is completely prohibited. The reason is that the mayor doesn't want less fortunate people to see the town on the internet, as it could make them sad. If you break this rule, you will have to face a fine of €5, although it may be worth it. In a video recorded in India, a man is seen throwing an axe-shaped object that returns like a boomerang. Although it looks like a traditional tool, it is actually a wooden boomerang painted to simulate an axe. The lightweight design allows it to return after being thrown. This is how astronauts on board the International Space Station go to the bathroom. A kind of vacuum cleaner sucks up the liquid and stores it in a container. The inverse perspective optical illusion and technique consists of paintings that look flat when viewed from the front, but are actually built in 3 dimensions and move when you change the viewing angle. The inventor of this technique is Patrick Hughes, an English surrealist artist obsessed with perspective and visual paradoxes. It was in 1964 when he made his first work with this incredible technique that continues to surprise the world. What appears black in an image can be volcanic ash or snowflakes seen in shadow. Snowflakes are white or transparent, but under certain lighting conditions, they can appear dark. This happens especially when they are observed against dark backgrounds or in poorly lit areas. Ash, on the other hand, is naturally gray or black and can be confused with snow if it falls in a fine form. The sport of lacrosse is one of the oldest team games in North America, originating with Native American tribes. In its origins, lacrosse games could last for days and involve hundreds of players, and they were played for the purpose of settling disputes, preparing young men for conflicts, or as a form of worship. Today, lacrosse is a popular sport in North America and is growing in other parts of the world. Iceland mud football is a particular sport played in Iceland. It is similar to traditional football, but with a big difference. It is played on a field full of mud. The teams compete barefoot, facing the difficult conditions of the terrain, which makes it an extreme challenge. This sport originated in 1998 as a fun way to raise money for charity, but it has become a very popular annual event in Iceland. The goal is to score goals on the opposing field, but the mud and slippery conditions make each match unpredictable and full of laughs. Thousand Trees is a shopping center located in Shanghai, China, designed by the English architect Thomas Heatherwick. Its structure is composed of columns that support trees, creating the appearance of green mountains. The project integrates nature and architecture in a dense urban environment. In addition to shops, it includes offices, cultural spaces, and public areas. I present to you the first computer in history called Colossus. It was created in the year 1944 as an electronic calculating device for the British to decipher communications during the Second World War. The encrypted message was read quickly through a paper tape. It was designed by Tommy Flowers at the Post Office Research Station, and 10 Colossus computers were built by the end of the conflict. This fantastic bike path allows you to travel among the trees of the forest by bicycle. It was built in Belgium as a project called Cycling Through the Trees. It is a circular bike path that surrounds the Pinheide Nature Reserve. In this way, people can admire nature while pedaling. Its creators hope that they can encourage people to take care of the forest. In addition, the trees that were removed for its construction were used to create rest areas for cyclists. In San Pedro Manrique, Spain, the Paso del Fuego is celebrated every 23rd of June, where people walk barefoot over lit coals. Wooden coals are poor conductors of heat, which reduces the risk of burns. The contact with the feet is brief and does not allow for significant thermal transfer. In addition, the feet contain a lot of water, which makes it difficult to raise their temperature quickly. It is an ancestral tradition with strong local roots. Tim's Place is a unique restaurant in the United States, founded by Tim Harris, a person with Down syndrome who became an inspiring example. He was not only the owner but also the restaurant's manager. He won people's hearts thanks to his positive attitude and his famous motto, "The happiest place on earth." Tim's Place stands out not only for its comforting food, but also for giving you a big hug when you order your breakfast or lunch. The Marvel villain, Thanos, started as a copy of the DC villain, Darkseid. The artist Jim Starlin took some things for inspiration when he was creating Thanos, but the editor Roy Thomas told him to copy him as much as possible. In Navarra, Spain, is the fountain of wine of the Bodegas Irache, next to the Camino de Santiago. This fountain has two spouts, one for water and one for young red wine. Every day it is filled with about 100 liters of wine as a gesture of hospitality. It is especially intended for pilgrims who travel the route. The tradition recalls medieval practices of offering wine to travelers. It was installed in the 1990s and is a local symbol of welcome. This is what friction welding looks like. The rotation of one piece with respect to another while under pressure creates friction, which generates heat between the two adjacent surfaces and plasticizes the material. In Africa, elephants without tusks are starting to be born. This happens because poaching has forced the females of this species to modify their genetics to remove the part for which they are hunted and to ensure their survival. But this does not happen with male elephants, who continue to be born with tusks because they need them to defend themselves. Cuckoo clocks were not originally Swiss. Although Switzerland is known for its cuckoo clocks, these were invented in the German Black Forest region in the 17th century. Swiss cuckoo clocks emerged later and quickly gained fame for their precision and beauty. But the original inspiration came from Germany. The Sakya Monastery Library in Tibet houses 84,000 ancient manuscripts and books. It was founded in the year 1073, and its collection includes some of the oldest Tibetan works of art. The library also contains literary pieces, as well as works on history, philosophy, astronomy, mathematics, agriculture, and art. Some of its writings are on palm leaves that have survived for more than 1,000 years thanks to the arid climate of the region. Monkeys that live in the zoo like the sound of traffic. These are the conclusions of a study carried out in Finland. The researchers installed sensors in the park so that the primates could choose the sounds they wanted to listen to. There were 4 options: a recording of a rainy day, dance music, relaxing sounds, and the winner, traffic noises. The monkeys slept or stroked each other, as car horns produce sounds that primates use to communicate, such as whistles and squeaks. This dog became famous on social media for his incredible resemblance to a cat. His name is Dewey. He lives in Vietnam, and his feline appearance is due to his pointed ears and his fur. According to his owners, Dewey is a short-legged dingo hybrid and, as you can see, his personality seems very lively and cheerful. King Louis XIX of France reigned for only 20 minutes, making him the briefest monarch in the history of France. The young Bourbon took a few minutes to sign the resignation of his rights so that Henry of Artois could reign. Due to the brevity of his reign, historians do not consider it official. This spider you see here, which looks like a Christmas decoration, is a wolf spider. All the small lights you see on her body are the eyes of the hundreds of young she carries on her back. Observe the first image of a planetary system orbiting a sun-like star. It was made by a European Southern Observatory telescope in the Atacama Desert in Chile. The image shows a planetary system located 300 light-years from Earth, and we can see 2 giant exoplanets revolving around a large star. Scientists hope that this finding will allow us to understand more about how the planets that orbit our sun were formed and evolved. The most expensive school in the world is the Le Rosey Institute, located in Switzerland, with an annual tuition cost of $133,000. It is reserved exclusively for the children of royalty, presidents, and millionaires. The most striking thing is not only the high cost, but also that it limits itself to accepting 400 students, rejecting thousands of children of the most powerful people in the world. Le Rosey focuses on discovering and developing the talents of all its students so that they can succeed independently. It also offers accommodation in mansions, state-of-the-art sports facilities, and service attended by a team of world-class chefs. In the Yukon region of Canada, there is a forest of signposts. It was started by a soldier who was recovering from his wounds in 1942. He missed his hometown, Illinois, so much that he put up a sign, and then tourists continued with that tradition. There are currently more than 72,000 posts. The common octopus has 3 hearts and 9 brains. 2 of the hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps oxygenated blood to the rest of the body. Its 9 brains provide it with a great capacity for perception and coordination of movements. The Margherita pizza, one of the most famous pizzas in the world, was created in Naples, Italy, in honor of Queen Margherita of Savoy. It features the colors of the Italian flag: red tomato, white mozzarella, and green basil, symbolizing the unification of Italy. Torres del Paine National Park in Chile is famous for its impressive landscape that includes mountains, glaciers, lakes, and rivers. The Torres del Paine, 3 distinctive granite peaks, are a highlight and a challenge for climbers from all over the world. The park is also an excellent place to observe Patagonian flora and fauna, including guanacos and condors. Russia is larger than Pluto. If we compare the surface area, Russia measures 17,412,400 square kilometers, while Pluto is estimated at 17 million square kilometers. The rhinoceros beetle can support up to 850 times its body weight, which makes it the strongest animal in the world in proportion to its size. Adults feed on decomposing fruit and sap. The larvae eat large quantities of decomposed wood or compost. This little one is the lyrebird. Lyrebirds are known for their amazing ability to reproduce almost any sound they hear. Their goal is to create the most complex song possible, and they use all the sounds around them to achieve it, such as songs or roars of other birds and animals, sounds produced by machinery, musical instruments, and they are even capable of imitating the human voice with chilling accuracy. Beavers communicate by marking their territory with a scent similar to vanilla. Beavers secrete a substance called castoreum that they use to mark their territory. Curiously, castoreum has a vanilla scent and flavor, which has led to its use in some food products as a flavor enhancer, although it is rarely used today. Pizza Hut is the only pizza that has been delivered even into outer space. In the year 2001, Pizza Hut delivered a pizza to the International Space Station. All this was part of a marketing campaign that cost more than $1 million, and it certainly paid off. As you can see, The pizza that was delivered was a little different from what we are used to because it was only 15 centimeters and had salami instead of pepperoni, since pepperoni spoiled very easily. On the Long Island Railroad in the United States, fire is applied to the rails during days of extreme cold. The objective is to prevent the metal intersections from freezing and getting stuck, which could affect the operation of the trains. This technique is used especially in track switches, where the metal is more vulnerable to contraction. Previously, liquid fuel was poured directly onto the rails and lit. Today, safer and more controlled gas heaters or electrical systems are used. The patterns on a feline's spots are formed according to the environment that surrounds them. This is because it helps them camouflage themselves in nature. Another factor that influences these complex designs is the species' behavior. If it is a nocturnal animal and spends a lot of time in trees, its patterns are generally more elaborate. This is a female blanket octopus. This animal deploys a kind of cape when it feels threatened. Growing up to 2 meters, females are much larger than males, and only they have the characteristic capes. The muntjac deer, native to Asia, is known for its small size and unique behavior. Some species measure barely 45 centimeters in height. They make sounds similar to a dog's bark when they feel threatened. That is why they are called barking deer. They have a preorbital gland that they can open and close voluntarily. This gland is used to mark territory through chemical signals. Despite their terrifying appearance, sharks rarely attack humans. When they do, it's because they make a mistake. These fearsome fish feed mainly on seals and sea lions due to the large amount of fat in their bodies. However, sharks sometimes mistake surfers wearing black wetsuits for seals and attack them by mistake. But in reality, humans are not part of their diet. Less than 100 shark attacks on people are recorded per year. This collapsible house can be assembled anywhere. The British firm Tenfold Engineering has created a house that goes from a cube to a habitable structure in just a few minutes. The visual effect that seems surprising at first is just the reflection of water on a glass. This type of illusion occurs when light and the angle generate an unexpected image. In this case, the cameraman is recording from inside a car. The Dhofar Valley in Oman is known for its unusual acoustic phenomenon, where the sand dunes emit sounds that resemble those of an organ or a hum when the wind passes over them. This sound is caused by the friction between the grains of sand, and the conditions have to be perfect for the singing to occur. Pigs are considered the fourth most intelligent non-human animal, just behind chimpanzees, dolphins, and elephants. However, they are the only one of these that has been domesticated and is produced on farms for human consumption. Recorded in West Bengal, India, this is the Hooghly River, one of the branches of the Ganges River. The Hooghly passes through the city of Kolkata, facilitating transport and trade. Kolkata is one of the most populated cities in India, with more than 14 million inhabitants in its metropolitan area. The boats that sail this river are informally known as Kolkata boats. These launches and ferries connect different urban and suburban points. This is the Pontiac Ghost, the first transparent car prototype in history. It was manufactured in the year 1939 and was presented by General Motors at an exhibition of futuristic designs in New York. The car allowed you to see through the entire body. However, it was unclear why someone would want to see it. Despite this eccentricity, the vehicle was perfectly functional. The car was auctioned in the year 2011 and sold for $80,000 to an American collector. This is the unusual pattern woven by spiders of the genus Paramatacha. They live in southern Australia and Tasmania. Blue-footed boobies are seabirds known for their coordinated dives to catch fish near the surface. They are common in the Galapagos Islands, where they form visible breeding colonies. Their distribution ranges from Mexico to northern Peru, with occasional presence in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia. These birds stand out for the intense blue color of their feet, which plays a role in courtship. This is what a seahorse giving birth looks like. This process begins when it mates, and the female seahorse places dozens and even hundreds of eggs in a pouch on the male seahorse's abdomen called a brood pouch or marsupium. When it's time to give birth, the male seahorse pumps water through the pouch, releasing hundreds of fry or baby seahorses in just a few minutes. The electric eel is characterized as a living organism capable of producing what is known as bioelectricity. It can grow to more than 2 meters in length and weigh 20 kilograms. They have lots of modified muscle cells called electrocytes that have both a negative and a positive side. When the cells are activated, they discharge an electrical impulse into the water around them. They can generate electrical discharges of up to 860 volts. They use this ability to hunt and defend themselves from predators. In the Netherlands, there is the Veluwemeer Aqueduct. a unique structure where water passes over a road. Vehicles travel through a submerged section 3 meters deep, while boats cross over the artificial lake. In this video, we can see the life cycle of a dandelion, from when it blooms until the head closes and seeds sprout from it. This is how pelicans yawn. In reality, pelicans don't yawn like we do, but rather, they do it more like a stretch. What you see coming out of their mouth is the pouch that hangs from their beak sticking to their long neck. In Chongqing, China, autonomous delivery trucks operate as part of advanced logistics projects. These vehicles, designed for urban deliveries, operate without a driver on board, reach speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour, and have a range of close to 180 kilometers per charge, which is suitable for daily routes. They use sensors, cameras, and navigation systems to move with precision, although many still have remote supervision for safety reasons. You are looking at what is possibly the first circular world map in history. It is believed to have been created in the year 1450 by the Mallorcan Cartographic School. It measures 113 centimeters in diameter and is made on a sheet of parchment. The map represents the coasts of the Mediterranean in great detail and the African continent with a large size. This is because Columbus had not yet arrived in America and its existence was unknown. This is the snow leopard, and it is one of the most stealthy predators on the planet. However, due to global warming, it is in serious danger of extinction, and there are fewer than 4,000 of these animals left in the wild. The commercial kitchen machine Coalalco can prepare up to 120 eggs per hour, ideal for high-demand restaurants. It is equipped with smart temperature control and a touch screen. Its design allows it to fry eggs and make omelets automatically. It can be found online for approximately $4,800. Monopoly, one of the most popular board games in the world, was originally created by Elizabeth Magie in 1903 as the landlord's game, with the intention of teaching about the dangers of monopolies in the economic system. Kalinka is a traditional Russian song composed by Ivan Larionov. The name comes from kalina, a shrub whose red berries are associated with winter and are known as snowberries. It is one of the most emblematic pieces of Russian folklore. It is interpreted with dances that include fast turns and energetic movements. Sea otters have a favorite rock that they carry with them. Otters are known for their use of tools, and some keep a special rock in a pocket under their paw. They use these rocks to break open shells and access the food inside, such as clams and sea urchins. This unique behavior demonstrates their intelligence and great abilities. The Forbidden City in Beijing, China, is the largest imperial palace in the world and was the residence of the Chinese emperors for almost 500 years. Built between 1406 and 1420 during the Ming Dynasty, the Forbidden City is surrounded by a wall and a moat and is made up of more than 90 palaces and buildings that house an impressive collection of art, antiques, and cultural relics. There are spherical cameras like Panono that capture 360-degree images. These photos are generated by multiple lenses distributed on the surface of the device. Although the image is digital and interactive, it can be printed as a static representation. What once seemed very far away is now a reality, and that is that airless tires, which have become a revolution in the tire industry, are already part of a series of vehicles, so they are already rolling on the streets and avenues. The main differentiator of these airless tires is their ability to eliminate any risk of punctures and limit the premature changing of tires, significantly reducing operation and maintenance costs. 600 years ago, during the period of the 100 Years' War between England and France, French became the official language in England as a result of the Norman conquest. Towards the end of the medieval period, English regained its status as the dominant language in England. Giraffes are the only mammals that do not have vocal cords. Although they have a neck that can measure up to 6 meters, they do not have the ability to make audible noises. They communicate with each other through sounds that are impossible to hear with the human ear. They can also do so through gestures or with their sense of smell. This is the largest and longest three-dimensional printed bridge in the world. It is located in the Dutch city of Nijnsel and has a length of 29 meters. Here you can see a bit of its construction process. Sharks never stop swimming. They even do it while they sleep. And there are two reasons. The first is that they cannot float, since they do not have a swim bladder, an internal organ that functions as a float for many fish. The second is that they breathe by filtering oxygen from the water that passes through their gills. If a shark for some reason stopped swimming, it would sink to the bottom of the sea and end up dying from lack of oxygen. Meet the anti-sun suit that will prevent you from getting burned. It is completely made of latex and created to offer total protection to those people who are allergic to the sun. The designer of this suit tells us that she has suffered from this allergy since she was a child, so she embarked on a mission to provide protection to all those who suffer from the same thing. The suit has valves to inflate and deflate whenever you want, as well as face protection. This is surely a unique design in the world. These are the oldest remains of pythons found so far. The fossils are from 47 million years ago and were in a forest in Germany. Researchers believe that this could indicate that this family of snakes originated in Europe, despite modern species living mainly in Africa, Asia, and Australia. The truth is that these remains are evidence that they inhabited the European continent in Neanderthal times. The fossils have been preserved quite well, and most are close to 1 meter in length. What you are seeing is not an optical illusion, it is a house in Poland built with the sole purpose of appearing distorted. The people responsible were the architects Sotinski and Zaleski, who aimed to design a unique building that looked like something out of a fairy tale, and they obviously succeeded. Since it was built in the year 2004, it has been one of the most photographed buildings in all of Poland and is visited by many people every year. Giant clams are the largest mollusks on Earth. They can grow more than 1 meter and weigh close to 230 kilograms. They live in the warm waters of the South Pacific and the Indian Ocean. They can only choose a home once. As soon as they latch onto a place on the reef, they stay there for life. They feed by consuming the glucose and proteins produced by the billions of algae that live in their tissues. Evan and Caitlin built the world's largest laptop. It has a 45-inch screen and weighs 50 kilograms. To function, it needs 3 batteries. One internal to be recognized as a laptop, another for the screen and the processor, and a third for the LED lighting. Meet the thorny devil, an Australian reptile that has the ability to drink water through its skin. During rain or in times of humidity, the water that accumulates on its body is directed towards its mouth through a process of capillarity. It measures up to 20 centimeters and has the ability to change color to camouflage itself when it feels threatened. In addition, it uses a curious defense mechanism. It expels blood from its eyes as if shedding tears. In China, a river dried up and exposed some curious rock formations. It happened in the south of the country and has quickly become a tourist attraction. According to experts, the rocks could have been formed by the blows of the rapids of the Fu River for years. In the year 2021, the water level began to drop and the rocks came to light, attracting hundreds of tourists. At birth, babies do not see colors, but rather a scale of grays. In addition, they can only distinguish objects that are between 20 and 30 centimeters away. This is because vision begins to develop from the first week of life and will continue to develop until it reaches the visual acuity of an adult at 4 years of age. Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest desert in the world. Although the term desert is commonly associated with arid and hot areas, Antarctica is technically the largest desert in the world due to its low annual rainfall, with extremely low temperatures that can reach -98 degrees Celsius and hurricane-force winds that can reach 240 kilometers per hour. There are dog-shaped pillows designed in 3 dimensions, available in online stores. They usually represent popular breeds like Shiba Inu or Golden Retriever and are made of soft plush. The design seeks visual realism and also functions as a decorative or resting object. I present to you the Principality of Sealand, a micronation off the coast of the United Kingdom. It is a platform in the middle of the sea, and yes, it is a country. It emerged in 1967 when former British Army officer Paddy Roy Bates occupied an abandoned sea fort 12 kilometers from England. A very curious fact is that it has already had a war, a diplomatic conflict with Germany, and even a coup d'etat. Today, this platform is governed by his son, Michael Bates, Prince of Sealand, after the death of his parents. Gorillas are mainly herbivores. Although they are large and powerful animals, their diet consists mainly of plants and fruits. They feed on a variety of leaves, stems, fruits, and shoots, supplementing their diet with insects and occasionally small animals. Stratus clouds are among those that form at the lowest altitude, generally below 2 kilometers. They have a uniform and gray appearance covering large areas of the sky like a continuous layer. They are common in humid and stable climates. In India, cows are considered sacred animals in Hinduism, the country's predominant religion. The curious thing is that, due to their sacred status, cows roam freely through the streets of many cities and are protected by laws that prohibit their suffering. The cow symbolizes nonviolence, abundance, and motherhood, and is seen as a symbol of life and fertility in Hindu culture. Meet the Amherst pheasant. The one we are seeing is a male specimen of this bird that measures between 100 and 120 centimeters in length. with a tail of 80 centimeters. In an impressive achievement recorded at the Beijing National Stadium, the young Wang Zhuoxin broke a world record. The girl successfully jumped a total of 110 jump ropes at the same time. Her companions from Zhuang Central Elementary School spun the ropes in sync for the feat. Meet the Borneo ninja slug. Its curious name is because, although it is a hermaphroditic species, during reproduction, the specimen that acts as a female shoots darts at the male to increase his fertility and lay more eggs. This is why it is also known as the Cupid slug. It was discovered in the mountainous forests of Malaysia, specifically in the Gunung Kinabalu jungle, at almost 2,000 meters above sea level. This area is known as Borneo, and that is where part of its name comes from. Meet the remora, a fish that has a strange suction disc on its head. It uses this part of its anatomy to attach to larger marine animals. The reason it does this is so as not to waste energy moving on its own, and also takes advantage of feeding on the leftover food left by its means of transport. In general, it is possible to see specimens stuck to sharks, but they have also been seen with sea turtles, manta rays, and even boats. However, some adult remoras abandon this behavior and swim alone. At the El Cheller de Can Roca restaurant in Girona, a mobile dessert cart is presented as part of the dining experience. Designed by Andreu Carula, this object combines technology and visual play. Its autonomous movement surprises diners at the end of the menu. The idea is inspired by kinetic art, especially the Strand Beast sculptures by the Dutchman Theo Jansen. The name Google comes from the term Google, which represents 10 raised to the power of 100. A very curious number that, written out in full, would be a 1 followed by 100 zeros, which is very fitting for the most important search engine on the internet. From the outside, this furniture isn't actually broken. These are the works of Henk, a retired carpenter who creates furniture like you've never seen before. They appear to be broken but are completely functional. Their creator was inspired to make designs that are not easily found in stores and takes from 8 to 100 hours to make each piece. Although many people would like to have a decoration like this, for now they only adorn Henk's home, since none of the furniture is for sale. In Turkey, there are industrial facilities dedicated to the production of bitumen emulsion, a key material in paving. Bitumen is obtained by distilling petroleum and is mixed with water and emulsifiers to facilitate its application. Meet the beautiful Aaron's hummingbird, also known as the bearded helmet crest. It measures around 10 to 12 centimeters in length and is one of the most dazzling hummingbirds when seen in good light. This is how Rocky Mountain rams or bighorn sheep fight for dominant rank. They charge at each other at more than 30 kilometers per hour. Their skulls are reinforced with a double layer of bone, strong enough to cushion powerful blows and protect the brain from collisions. Airplane contrails are trails of ice crystals formed by water vapor from engines at high altitude, and they sometimes visually coincide with structures on the ground such as chimneys. When a contrail appears to come out of a chimney, it is simply an optical coincidence. The DeLorean from the movie Back to the Future had to have a speedometer specially manufactured for the film because in 1979 a law was made in the United States that prohibited car speedometers from exceeding 85 miles per hour. As many of us know, the car had to reach 88 miles per hour to travel through time. This is the truffle, a type of fungus that is classified among the most expensive foods in the world. Its price in the most luxurious restaurants can exceed $1,000 per kilogram. This is because it has a flavor, texture, and aroma that you will not be able to taste in any other food. In addition to that, cultivating it is quite complicated, and it only occurs in very specific conditions and terrains, which increases its value considerably. The Romanian village of Gemena was flooded in the 1980s to store toxic waste from the Roșia Poieni copper mine. About 400 families were displaced and the valley became a contaminated artificial lake. The water contains mining sludge with high levels of heavy metals. Tikal National Park in Guatemala is home to the ruins of an ancient Mayan city. This park protects the ruins of an important political, economic, and religious center during the classic Mayan period. Recorded in a building in San Francisco, United States, these are salsa dancers on a glass floor and seen from below. Meet the Salinas Grandes in Argentina. This vast salt flat, located in the provinces of Jujuy and Salta, is one of the largest and highest salt deserts in the world, covering more than 8,000 square kilometers. The Salinas Grandes impress not only with their immensity, but also with their surprising white landscape that extends as far as the eye can see. This is the Carton King Creative Park, a curious place where everything is made of cardboard. The ceiling, walls, chairs, and tables are made entirely of cardboard. In this restaurant, people go to marvel at the scope of what can be achieved with recycled materials. In addition, the stores only sell objects made of this material, and it has a park with a small train of wagons also made of cardboard. It is located in Taiwan, however. They have already built a restaurant with the same characteristics in China. For the role of Flynn Rider, the attractive protagonist of the animated film Tangled, the creators took a unique approach. They decided that the women on the production team would be in charge of choosing the physical attributes of the character. Inspired, they took the best of Hollywood: Brad Pitt's hair, Tom Hardy's chin, and so on, building the ideal heartthrob piece by piece. The result was an attractive and charismatic character. The Mauna Loa volcano in Hawaii is the largest active volcano in the world. Mauna Loa has a larger surface area than that of 85 countries. From its underwater base to its summit, it is the most massive volcano on the planet and has erupted 33 times since 1843. It is one of the most studied places by volcanologists due to its continuous activity. The actor Tom Cruise saved the Ray-Ban company from bankruptcy. In the 1980s, Ray-Ban was on the verge of collapse. Its sales were very low, and they were about to declare bankruptcy. But everything changed thanks to two movies where Tom Cruise appeared with Ray-Ban glasses: Risky Business and Top Gun. Thanks to that, sales increased almost automatically. From selling 200,000 glasses a year, they went on to sell more than 4.5 million, thus saving the company from bankruptcy. The Jiuzhaigou Valley in China is located in the Sichuan province and is known for its impressive landscapes of turquoise waters, spectacular waterfalls, and snow-capped peaks. It is especially famous for its multicolored lakes that are the result of calcium carbonate and other mineral deposits, along with some well-preserved forest ecosystems. This is the Aerospace Line Super Guppy, an airplane specialized in transporting bulky loads. It is used by NASA to transport rockets and other airplanes. The reticulated python is one of the most dangerous animals in the world. The reason for this is the enormous size of this snake and its ability to suffocate its prey to death. Pythons generally measure up to 4.5 meters long, but according to National Geographic, the largest specimen recorded reached 7.6 meters in length. In addition, it has a powerful jaw that helps it devour its prey with great ease. According to an investigation, the country with the most tattooed population is the United Kingdom, and the tradition goes back many years. Even Winston Churchill, Prime Minister during the Second World War, had an anchor tattooed on his arm. In the Bolivian highlands near La Paz is the Valley of the Moon, an impressive geological formation with peaks and valleys that resemble the lunar landscape. This place owes its name to Neil Armstrong, who visited it after his trip to the moon and commented on its similarity to the lunar soil. I present to you D30, a rubbery, light, and very flexible material whose function is to cushion impacts without the need to carry heavy and uncomfortable metal or plastic protections. When subjected to a sudden force, it is capable of absorbing the impact. In Lopburi, Thailand, the Monkey Festival is celebrated every year, usually on the last Sunday of November. During the event, banquets of fruits and vegetables are offered to the local macaques. The celebration takes place at the Wat Phra Prang Sam Yat Temple. It was established in the 1980s as a gesture of gratitude. Monkeys are considered a symbol of good fortune in the region. The festival attracts thousands of visitors every year. In 1982, Sony created pocket televisions. The Sony Watchman had a small black and white screen of 5 centimeters. In addition, it had built-in antennas to pick up a television signal, which allowed programs to be watched on the go or in places where there was no access to a traditional television. For this reason, bears scratch their backs so much. These animals rub themselves on trees for 2 reasons. The first and most important is to leave their trail and scent, so that others of their species know that they were there. The second is to move the thick hair that grows during the winter. In Huangshan, Anhui Province, China, workers test the correct functioning of a new cable car. Did you know the meaning of the number pi? It is an irrational number that represents the relationship between the length of a circumference and its diameter. That is, if we divide the length of a circumference by its diameter, we will always get the same number. The value of pi is approximately 3.1416, but it has infinite decimals that do not follow any pattern. Pi is a very important number in mathematics, geometry, and physics, and is used to calculate areas, volumes, and other properties of circular figures. When you use a laptop, you blink less than you should. Human beings blink about 20 times per minute. However, studies have revealed that when in front of a computer, the amount decreases to 3 or 4 times per minute. The reason is that when seeing something so bright, the brain concentrates and blinks much less. Over time, This could cause health problems, so it's good to take precautions and rest your eyes. The Vatican City, in addition to being the smallest country in the world, is the country that drinks the most wine per capita, about 74 liters per citizen per year. The lack of sun exposure is causing myopia to grow by leaps and bounds today. According to scientists, cases of myopia have doubled compared to 50 years ago. Although myopia is hereditary, it has now been declared a global epidemic, since up to 90% of children and young adults suffer from it. All this is because they are not exposed to sunlight for at least 3 hours a day, which is necessary to stimulate the production of dopamine, a chemical that prevents the development of myopia. This way of manipulating wood is called steam bending. This softens the wood fibers and makes them easier to mold. Once the wood has been shaped into the desired form, it is held in place until the fiber regains its rigidity as it dries. This is the Balloon World Cup, a curious championship that is played in a space of 8 meters by 8 meters with one player per team. Each one must prevent the balloon thrown by their rival from falling while dodging a series of obstacles. This is Body, a dog who lost his sight at 13 years of age. So that he wouldn't trip, his owner created this ingenious ring that, tied to his collar, allows him to move without bumping into things. The Spanish brand Lincoln Drones seeks to replace waiters with drones in bars, although it also seeks to deliver beer to distances of up to 5 kilometers. The project is in the testing phase and seeks to facilitate fast deliveries in rural areas. Meet the impressive light show of the famous Burj Khalifa building located in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. It is undoubtedly one of the must-see stops on your visit to this beautiful place. Observe this method for making popcorn with pressurized air. In Argentina, they are known as tutucas. This is the homemade version, and this other one is the one used by street vendors. To walk safely on frozen water, the ice must be at least 10 centimeters thick. This thickness can support the weight of an adult person under normal conditions. However, the resistance of the ice also depends on the temperature, the uniformity of the layer, and the absence of currents. This is what an alien lunar eclipse looks like. The video was recorded from the surface of Mars. This is one of its moons, Phobos. This is Mark Rock's complete process in Barcelona to create this incredible three-dimensional optical illusion on the wall. Hedgehogs communicate with noises. These small animals emit a variety of sounds to communicate, such as grunts, snorts, and even squeaks. Although they seem quiet, when they are active they can be quite noisy, especially at night. The sounds help hedgehogs express their emotional state or warn of possible threats. The Soda Sprite was almost a Fanta flavor. In 1959, Fanta Lemon Lime was released on the market, but when it arrived in the United States in 1961, its name was changed to Sprite. Polyurea is a synthetic polymer used as a waterproofing material in various industries. It is characterized by its rapid drying, especially when applied hot. It is highly resistant to wear, abrasion, and extreme temperatures. Its flexibility allows it to adapt to different surfaces without forming joints. In addition, it has remarkable durability in demanding conditions. It is used in construction, mining, and industrial coatings. The Corral Pyramids in Peru are some of the oldest pyramid structures in the world, dating from around 2600 BC. These pyramids are contemporary to those in Egypt but are less known. This is what happens when you don't pay your car loan in the United States. These tow trucks can take your car at any time. It's completely legal. The human brain consumes approximately 20% of the body's oxygen, although it represents only about 2% of total body weight. This high demand for oxygen is due to the intense and constant metabolic activity of the brain, which is vital for maintaining cognitive and neuronal function. In China, the police use facial recognition technology to identify suspects in minor crimes such as theft or infractions. This system allows for tracking people in public spaces with high precision. In addition, it is used as a tool for state surveillance, especially in sensitive regions like Xinjiang. Its implementation has generated international concern about the control of minorities and dissidents. Ants can survive a fall of up to 10 kilometers high. This is because, according to the laws of physics, every object, depending on its size, shape, and weight, has a maximum speed it can reach in free fall. In the case of ants, they can reach a maximum speed of 7 kilometers per hour, so it doesn't matter if they fall from an airplane or from the roof of your house. To give you an idea, if a person did the same from an airplane, they would reach a speed of 200 kilometers per hour, and you already know the result. The Temple of Karnak in Egypt, one of the largest religious sites in the world, is famous for its impressive columns and statues. In addition to being a center of worship for more than 2,000 years, the temple's detailed hieroglyphics and massive structures offer a window into the religious and social past of ancient Egypt. In Iceland, during certain volcanic eruptions, pyroclastic fragments can be seen falling on snow in high-altitude areas. These materials include ash, lapilli, and volcanic bombs expelled from the crater. The contrast between the heat of the material and the snowy environment generates impressive scenes. Volcanoes like Fagradalsfjall and Hekla have shown this type of activity. The life of the composer Richard Wagner was curiously marked by the number 13. He was born in 1813, and if you add each digit, you will notice that the result is 13. His first and last name contain a total of 13 letters. He was exiled for 13 years, composed 13 operas, and his first performance leading an orchestra occurred on September 13th. He lived in a house that was inaugurated on August 13th, and he left there on September 13th, and he died on the 13th of February in 1883. The spider monkey can jump up to 9 meters away and survive surprising falls. These primates have been observed to fall from heights of up to 15 meters without suffering serious injuries. This ability is due in part to their unique physical structure, which includes long, slender legs that act as natural shock absorbers during the fall. Wingsuits allow free-fall gliding, reducing vertical speed and facilitating directional control. They do not allow for strict flight, so a parachute is always required for landing. The wingsuit is used in mountainous environments due to its height and open space conditions. It is an extreme discipline that requires specialized training. The Earth's oceans contain around 97% of the planet's water, with the remaining 3% being fresh water in the form of rivers, lakes, glaciers, and groundwater. In London, England, KitKat conducted an advertising campaign with a human vending machine. A person was located inside the device and handed out chocolates directly to passers-by. The action took place at London Victoria Station. The objective was to reinforce the brand's slogan, "Have a break." This is the largest glass observation platform in the world. The viewpoint occupies an area of 716 square meters, is about 125 meters long and 77 meters wide, and has 2 floors. A walk on the observation platform not only allows you to contemplate the landscape, but also to have exciting experiences such as bungee jumping and cliff hiking. The hydrochloric acid present in the human stomach is so powerful that it can dissolve metals like iron and zinc. Even so, the stomach is protected from its own acids by a thick mucus lining that coats its walls. Plants grow faster when music plays. If the sounds are negative, that is, atonal or strident, they react badly and die after a few weeks. On the contrary, if the music is relaxing and melodic, its growth improves by 25%. In the Arctic, scientists have managed to revive plants that had been frozen in permafrost for thousands of years. These plants, once thawed, have been able to germinate and grow again, providing an incredible glimpse into the tenacity of life and the possibility of biological regeneration. The Taj Mahal, located in India, is a mausoleum built in 1632 by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died giving birth to their 14th child. It is estimated that about 20,000 workers worked on its construction under the direction of a group of architects led by the court architect. The first Ferris wheel to be built was in 1893 for the Chicago World's Fair. It was 75 meters high and was made especially to compete with the Eiffel Tower in Paris. After making it, its creator went bankrupt. A Norwegian boy caught a fish with a curious appearance. It was a common chimera, an animal that can grow up to 1.5 meters long and has a life expectancy of 30 years. The specimen was caught at a depth of 800 meters, and unfortunately, the change in pressure caused a very drastic change in its anatomy, giving it this monstrous appearance. The Garawol is a courtship festival celebrated by the nomadic Woda-Abe tribe, mainly in Niger, and also in regions of Cameroon and Nigeria. In this event, men put on makeup and dance to attract the attention of women. The female participants can choose a partner freely, even if they are already married. This is BMW's new technology, color-changing paint. Here you can see it in action. The vehicle's body panels are covered in a material that can change color in response to small electrical stimuli. Arowanas are tropical fish known for their exceptional parental care. When the female lays the eggs, the male collects them with his mouth to incubate them. This process can last between 30 and 50 days, depending on the species and the environment. During that time, he protects them from predators and environmental changes. Once the hatchlings emerge, The male releases them by spitting them into the water. These appear to be simply socks with chicken feet painted on them. They are a fun and peculiar accessory that plays with optical illusion to give the impression that the wearer has bird feet, adding a touch of humor to the outfit. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe so you don't miss more interesting content. Leave your comments and click on any of these videos. See you next time.